All right, good morning. Okay, everyone who's not behind the camera should come up here. Thank you all so much for being here with us today to mark and make official an important statement of who we are as a city and the actions that we're trying to take every day to make it easier for residents in the city to stay and for new families to afford to become Bostonians as well. I am really thankful to be here with so many champions for housing and for city services who are leading across our neighborhoods. Our City Council President, Madam President Ruthzee Louijeune, who championed this ordinance that we are signing today. Her co-sponsor on this, City Councilor Enrique Pepin. Madam Chair of the Government Operations Committee, City Councilor Gabriela Coletta Zapata, who stewarded this. And all of our council colleagues, City Councilor Liz Braden, City Councilor John Fitzgerald, City Councilor Ben Weber, and all of our colleagues on the council. Thank you also to our Chief of Housing, Sheila Dillon, and Dan and everyone on the housing team. Thank you to our Chief of Planning, Cairo Shen, and everyone in the planning department. And former city councilor and now technically formerly chair of also the Black Men and Boys Commission, but all around champion for many issues and all things Boston, Tito Jackson. And thank you to all of our advocates who stand with us throughout the city and in every conversation and for working on this ordinance as well. Very, very grateful for your leadership. So I will say the same thing I say 1,000 times a day. Our city is focused on making Boston a home for everyone. Everything that we do, every investment that we make, every policy choice that we make is intended to root families in Boston and make sure that our families are also at home in every part of the city with access to every opportunity. However, the reality is that as we continue to do this work, many of our families are still having to make incredibly difficult or impossible decisions, choosing between paying the rent or turning the heat on, forcing to skip celebrations or fun with family because it's just not in the budget. And too many families are already having to worry about digging up their roots to try to find more affordable soil, often elsewhere outside the city. That's why all of us in the administration, on the city council, in our community, are working to build more housing and make sure that it is affordable, to create more home ownership opportunities for Bostonians of every culture and every generation, so that we can build the Boston that our families deserve, one that is safe, affordable, healthy, and accessible for all. Over the last 4 years, I am very grateful and proud that together, our city has created the most affordable housing in a generation. We've developed we're in the process of developing over 1,500 affordable homes on city-owned land through our Welcome Home Boston program, including 140 vacant lots. We had a great response to the most recent Phase 3 Welcome Home Boston RFP as well, where the vast majority of the developers designated for these affordable housing projects are also local developers who reflect our community and are representing new jobs being created for our residents too. We've also cut the ribbon on 15 units of housing so far, through our office to residential conversion program, 126 under construction, 795 more in the pipeline, and that is in total 934 units of new housing across 23 buildings underway, taking underutilized office buildings and making them into brand new affordable homes. And just last month, we broke ground on the new and long overdue Chinatown branch of the Boston Public Library, which is doubly exciting because it will also feature 110 new affordable homes right above. We're excited to do the same with upcoming renovations to the Upham's Corner and West End branch libraries also. Today is another step forward. Thank you to our city councilors. The ordinance that I'll sign today will formalize a process to ensure that city buildings that are no longer needed for a direct municipal services purpose will be considered first and foremost for affordable housing. This ordinance makes affordable housing the first choice for any buildings that the city designates as surplus and ensures that community members are involved in that decision-making process. Last year, we cut the ribbon on the Pride in Hyde Park, an affordable housing development for It's an affordable housing community for our LGBTQ+ elders, stewarded by the one and only Gretchen Van Ness and her team. And I have seen our Pride residents at so many Hyde Park events and so many Boston events, jumping right in, full of excitement, full of enthusiasm, and contributing so much already to the fabric of our city. The reason why we were able to do this, in addition to the tenacity and the vision of the community partners who approached us, is because there was a process to make sure that this former school building could be reimagined and reopened as inclusive, affordable, sustainable housing. And one of my favorite parts of the building, in addition to the gorgeous preservation of the historic details, is that in some of the units, the original blackboards from the classrooms are still preserved there. We also cut the ribbon on a former police station in Mattapan that is now 40 units of rental and homeownership units. So thank you so much to our leaders here today who are gathered to take a policy step that will lead to more shovels in the ground, or I guess renovations of, and ribbon cuttings for more families to truly root themselves in our city. This is a city that understands what our families need and will stop at nothing to make sure we're doing all that we can to deliver it. Now, I will invite our City Council President to say a few words, and we need to all also say a prayer today and make sure we're all crossing our fingers and counting everything, putting all things in place. Go Celtics for tonight.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you to everyone for being here. This is a really great day of us affirming who we are as a city and affirming what we want to do with municipal buildings that are no longer being used for their intended purpose, to ensure that we are every day working on the affordability issues that the residents of this great city bring to us as city councilors every single day. I started this morning at my alma mater, Boston Latin School, alongside Councilor Pepin, where we were talking to young Black and brown students who are worried about what the next 10 years will look like in the city of Boston, as their parents worry about the price of rent and they worry about mortgage. We have a responsibility to respond and to do the work of responding to our young people who are worried about whether they have a future in this city. This ordinance is a step in that direction. I want to give a very big shout out to former City Councilor Tito Jackson, who has been, who planted this seed, I think before even I got into office, about the importance of stating that when there's a municipal building, our city believes that the best use for that building is affordable housing. And this ordinance states that, and it also states a timeline on which that will happen. It's not saying exclusively every building must be affordable housing, but think of it as a mayor's right, the Mayor's Office of Housing, a right of first refusal. That housing, affordable housing, is our priority. It's the preferred use, along with other mixed uses that may occur on the site. The mayor cited what's happening in Chinatown, the Chinatown Library, and on top of that, housing. Rich Giordano can give you a lot more great ideas about what can happen. And so I just want to thank everyone from the administration who worked so diligently with my team. Shout out to my policy director, Jesse Purvis, in the back, but also to our fearless chief of housing, Sheila Dillon, along with her entire team, Daniel Lesser, I don't see Devin Quirk here, but I want to thank Devin Quirk, James Smith, and Rebecca, and everyone. I want to thank my colleagues, Government Ops Chair, Councilor Coletta Zapata, Housing Chair, Councilor Braden, Councilor Pepin, who is my co-sponsor on this, along with Councilor Worrell. I think that this is important work, and we see it every day with the Pride, a former middle school, the middle school that my younger sister and older sister attended. I was a rebel and went to middle school in Dorchester. But one of the things about the Pride is that it actually, that school sat vacant for too long. So we are hoping that with this, once there's a determination made that a municipal building is surplus property, we're getting right on it. with determining what the use is for that site, and understanding that the residents of Boston want the preferred use to be affordable housing. So I just want to thank everyone, all of the advocates who are here and who helped us shape and think about this. Charlie Adams, the developer of the Pride, Rich Giordano, Fenway Forward, who recently retired from Fenway CDC, but I don't think he knows what retirement means. Exactly. And Tia from Madison Park Development Corporation, and Tia Ambrogi Izaza, and Gretchen Van Ness, and of course, Roger Brown, who's the Director of Real Estate Development at POA, the Preservation of Affordable Housing, Michael Wolfson, who's a Professor of Design and Architecture at Wentworth, and Dariella Villon-Maga from DVM Housing Partners, who will also be celebrating a ribbon cutting this Sunday, Bloom on Blue Hill Avenue. So there's so much potential to continue the work built in the city to ensure that affordability is what we are working on as a council. This is an ordinance that passed unanimously. I want to thank all of my colleagues who are here standing. They voted unanimously in support of this ordinance after working sessions and hearing that this was something that we needed. And so I want to thank everyone and the mayor. We made historic investments in housing with our ARPA dollars, and we continue to do that with all the resources that we have. So I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who is responding in this moment to the affordability issues that residents are bringing to us. This is only one part of the solution. There's no silver bullet. A bunch of different things working together to make this happen. Thank you.
Right.
I'm going to pass it off to Councilor Gabriela Coletta-Zapata.
Thank you so much, Council President Louijeune. Today is a great day, and I just have to say that this is a demonstration of your elected leaders, your local leaders, being laser focused on trying to find policy solutions. We have persistent issues here in the city. We all know that there's an affordability crisis, but as the mayor said, there are record investments, and we as a council in partnership with the mayor are trying to move things like this forward. And this is just all of us trying to be smarter and more intentional about the property that has been surplused in the city of Boston. I have to say, I was on my way here. I was a little late because I was caught by a constituent who was talking to me about a catch basin. It's just like City Government 101. It was flooded. And I was like, I thought you moved. Where did you go? He's like, I am at the Barnes School in East Boston. It is one of the first instances in East Boston, thanks to the East Boston CDC and the city at the time, everybody coming together to build affordable senior housing. And he's like, I love it. I have a community, I have activation, I have yoga, we do bake sales all the time. It's great. And so not only is this ordinance stabilizing communities, it is creating community. And the more that we do that, the more that our city is vibrant, just, sustainable, and healthy for everybody. So I'm so grateful to be here. I want to thank the mayor for her partnership, thank City Council President Louijeune. We are just ensuring in the process of all of this too, the public facilities process, we went through the details. We're just trying to make it more transparent and accessible for everybody, and we actually include more community input into this process. So please, all residents listening, please look out for this process and get involved. But this ordinance ensures that affordable housing is no longer an afterthought, it is the starting point. It's the first right of refusal for the mayor's office and the planning department. And it's a step towards making sure every Bostonian has a fair shot at a home that they can afford. So I just want to thank everybody again. And of course, I have to shout out, she's my constituent, but in Tia, we have some of the most brilliant minds here, the most brilliant minds in affordable housing. Everybody's a friend here, Rich, Gretchen, but just thank you so much, Tito, as well, former Councilor Tito Jackson, for your leadership. And I want to thank my colleagues as well. Thank you. And I want to bring up my colleague, City Councilor Enrique Petan.
Good morning, everyone. To the mayor, to Council President Louijeune, to my council colleagues, to the advocates in our community, thank you for fighting for affordable housing. Affordable housing is the reason why I even ran for office. It's the #1 issue I hear in my office. Residents continuously asking, what is the city doing? I think this is a message to those residents that we are stepping up to fight for affordable housing. I have the distinct pleasure of representing District 5, which is where the Pride is in Hyde Park. And let me tell you that what that building has become to Hyde Park, it is the heart of Hyde Park. The people that live there Gretchen, the work that you do, that is community. And the fact that that used to be a school, and we took the opportunity to make that into affordable housing for our residents, that's what we need to be doing across the city. And I love that there's just so much courage in this ordinance, that we are showing the residents that we are fighting for them. And like Council President Louijeune mentioned, we heard from students that they still live with their parents, but they're already thinking about, are they going to be able to afford to live in the city of Boston when they move out? And I think that we are heading in the right direction. So let's continue to do that. I'm just so proud to be the co-sponsor with Council President and my council colleagues on this, because this is probably the #1 issue that we are facing in our city, and I wanted to continue to see it happening. So to the mayor also, just thank you for being courageous as well as building new schools, because with building new schools and renovating the schools, it's opened up potential older buildings for these type of opportunities. And that takes courage. So just thank you for that. Before I wrap up, I do want to say a thank you to, I know everyone's doing this, but Tito Jackson. Not just because he's a former city councilor and he worked on this, but because he gave me my first opportunity as an intern, my first ever internship in his office. And he was fighting for this, and now we're doing it today. So to everyone in this room, thank you. I look forward to fighting for more affordable housing in our city. Thank you, everyone.
As you can tell, Tito's responsible for a lot of what's happened in this room, so please, I'd like to hand the mic over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think much of that just means I'm old. But I am really, really happy to be here today. I'm proud of the amazing leaders that we have here today. I think it is, when we have the most difficult times, we need the best leaders. And I would argue that we have the best leaders, not only in the state, but in the country, and the amazing people who are standing behind me. This I have to attribute, as soon as Madam President got in, I was like, there's some stuff I didn't do. Mel King, a king we all agree with. Pulled me aside and said, this is what we should do. And so I felt, and when you think about that legacy and the dash that he is in the city, I look at his life as a dash, and we are actually continuing to hand that baton off, and I got to hand it off to Madam President. I want to thank you for actually listening and taking that baton, because sometimes they get dropped. But we have an opportunity to align our valuables with, align our values with our valuables in the city of Boston. We are not making any more land that I know of. Kairos, let me know if you got some things going on there. But we have an opportunity to, again, align our policy with the people. When I left on the city council, we had about 50,000 young people in the district, but 10% of them were homeless. Kind of hard to do homework when you don't have a home. And we have kids coming from as far as Greenfield, Massachusetts, to go to school in the city. And at the same time, we have 126 school buildings. We're gonna have some brand new ones. I know there's some stuff happening. But when it comes down to it, we need to make sure that we are using the valuable resources that we have to align with the people who are in need. And by the way, innovation doesn't have to only happen in the innovation district. Innovation should be happening all around the city. And I know everybody thinks about innovation as AI. I think about it as we. And some of y'all are too young, so that means not the video game for the young folks, but WE. We the people in the city of Boston, and not only the people who are moving here, and we love y'all, but those folks who cleaned up their blocks and made sure there was no longer visible drug dealing or sex trafficking on their blocks. Those people who called a bunch of us to fill potholes, catch basin issues, any of those things. Those are the folks who we work for on a daily basis. And we need to ensure that the least of those in our city have a lease to be here in the city of Boston, that they have ownership. And we're not merely developing the city, again, for those who will come, but those who have been here and those who will continue to stay here. I'll leave you in the words of the king that I talked about earlier, Mel King. And we do this in his question and answer. He said, love is the question and the answer. That's why we do this, and we align our policy with the obstacles that are there, and we solve those obstacles. And the best thing that I see about what's happening here that may not be happening in some other places is that we all stand united for the same thing, for the same people, and leaning into one another and not back. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Good morning, still. Dariella Villon-Maga of DVM Housing Partners. First, I want to start off by saying thank you to Councilor Ruthzee and Councilor Brian Worrell for inviting me to advocate for this ordinance a little under a year ago. As a product of affordable housing and all the resources that this wonderful city has to provide, I'm just honored to be able to be a part of bringing this to the city. I've also had the privilege of benefiting from great city ideas. I was one of the first developers to be awarded 5 parcels on Blue Hill Avenue. The city and Sheila Dillon had a really big focus on making sure that those parcels went to local developers of color, and our firm, DVM Housing Partners, had the benefit of doing that. And now we are having a ribbon cutting on Sunday to celebrate 30 new We're celebrating 30 new affordable homeownership homes and 3 commercial spaces that will be occupied by local Mattapan businesses. So, as a product of, our city really thinking and putting into action solutions to affordable housing, I'm just honored to be here. I'm honored to be a resident of the city that continues to put the housing crisis at the forefront, tries to use every tool available to solve that issue. A lot of people talk about it, but we don't see a lot of action. Here in Boston, we're about that action. So I'm excited to be here again, and I just want to thank the leadership for really stepping up and doing what's right. I'm a proud Boston resident today. Thank you.
Madam President reminded me that we are on the clock for a 12 p.m. council meeting, so we'll have Gretchen close us out, and then we'll do the signing and get to it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you to the City Council, especially the folks who represent us in Hyde Park, our City Council President and Enrique Pepin, Gretchen Van Ness from LGBTQ Senior Housing. We're the nonprofit partners in the development of the Pride. All I can say is, let's do this. Let's do this more. Let's do this everywhere. What affordable housing like the Pride in a former school can do is knit back our communities together, bring families back together, bring people who've been priced out of Boston back to their homes, and that's what we see every day where we are, a welcoming and beautiful space. And this is a fantastic thing that the City Council has done to make this possible in every neighborhood in Boston, and I can't wait to see what we're doing as a city. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah.